welcome to the Movie Section Show. My name is Fariba, and I'm so excited for tonight. I cannot believe this. It's been 7 years since I last saw Daredevil. I mean, I still recall my times watching the original series back on Netflix and the whole cancellation, but then the reemergence with Charlie Cox, and it's just like, it's been quite an emotional journey, and now here it is. After 7 years, we're getting Daredevil Born Again. We're about to see it this time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be very different, of course, but I'm very stoked. I cannot express how excited I am just because I waited so long for this. I still remember my emotions when it was originally canceled back, 2018? I was still in shock, and I was like, how could this happen? Of course, I now know why, but even then, it's just like, how could they? Like, it was one of the best things to come out on Netflix, and I mean, now, of course, things have changed. I mean, now I'm like very stoked to see Daredevil Born Again, especially after having heard some of the reviews. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've prepped myself. I've watched Daredevil. I've already seen Echo. I mean, I think once is enough for me. She-Hulk, I saw that one episode. I've seen No Way Home. I basically am caught up. In terms of just watching content, I only just saw the trailer just because honestly I try not to spoil myself too much. I've not even seen the opening scene that they released just because I just want to see it like in action. So this is gonna be my first time seeing the actual opening scene that they had released, but I'm really excited. I cannot wait to see how this turns out. I'm just hoping it turns out great because I know it's like 7 years, a lot of things have happened, so it's a lot. But on top of that, considering the fact that we are having a 2-episode premiere, I'm just gonna watch both episodes back to back. I'm not gonna stop midway through after I finish episode 1. I'm just gonna keep all my commentary until I finish episode 2, so that's how I'm gonna format it for tonight. I know there's a little something wonky going on with episode 5 and 6, which that one's also double episode day, so weird, but I'm excited. I have my faith. Hopefully things turn out. I'm just gonna hope that it turns out really well. So yeah, I'm still excited. So yeah, I can't believe this. Without further ado, let's get right down into the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Boys, we're kitchen class. Yeah, I like to think that we have a
Oh my god.
You know,
Oh
Becky's
my
Diner,
god.
right? Love that place.
Closed. Turning it into a soul cycle.
You're evil for even.
It was nice seeing them 3 again.
Dark times indeed.
These Hell's Kitchen are leaving, and it's 30% of the force in the last 2 years.
Are those numbers legit?
My numbers are always legit.
You wouldn't argue with him.
Oh my god. Yep.
Still,
Karen.
city finds other ways.
Oh, it's that bar.
Well, we could just get out of here.
You and me?
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Although, I think that's a distinct violation of the Friends Code.
The Friends Code. I keep forgetting about the Friends.
Hogarth challenge benefits.
Oh, what happened to his girlfriend?
The DAs.
Ambition. I like that.
Then why are you in a storefront?
And she's from Severance.
Remind me never to face you and compete.
Oh boy.
Or
No.
NMMP.
He's calling the firm NMP.
No.
Foggy. Oh,
Rescue him, hell no. I just wish we had popcorn.
As we know that the actual firm exists.
Sorry.
Can't understand me. What? Just no.
Oh, don't tell me. Oh my god, don't tell me they're going to kill Foggy. Ugh! Oh. Oh my god, the
Hey, Foggy, he wanted to know where you were. I'm sorry. What? Who?
It's Bullseye! Oh, frick no!
He said someone's looking.
Hello, Karen.
Oh, fuck off. Oh my god, we're about to get a hallway scene.
There's something going on downstairs.
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ! No, come on. Come on, please.
Oh, wow, it's really solemn and sad.
That you
Oh, he's in a new apartment.
if I did.
He eats egg whites now?
Sentencing. It's the kind of thing that can bring up a lot of anger and pain and go sideways pretty fast.
I know.
Have you heard from her?
That you're doing so well.
That's quite
Great,
interesting.
thanks. Lies. I'm not him anymore. And I won't let myself be.
And you think that that will help?
I don't know.
Tonight, I'm making a commitment to fix this system, to fix our city. Tonight, I'm declaring my candidacy for mayor of New York. What's your name, son?
Daniel Blake.
Daniel.
Tony Soprano's son.
Impressed with your enthusiasm.
Things happen for yourself, now you make things happen for New York. I mean, Mayor Fisk. That's the coolest fucking thing on the planet.
So look, why not jump right in and ask, what are you looking for in legal representation?
Excuse me?
What are you hoping
She
Murdoch
set
and
it up
McDuffie
just
can
to
do for you?
figure.
I'm a little confused. And you argue everything.
That's
Okay. It's
She ain't
kind of
wrong.
a sweeping generalization.
See what I mean?
A's and the O's, but you can still hear the effort.
oh, this
It's
is
light,
very
but
New
it's there.
York.
Don't feel bad. It's a blind thing.
That's wow.
I wonder if
The lawyer
one of
from
those
the
repeaters.
kitchen's got good taste in sandwiches. Where did you go to high school?
You're talking about the man crushes
I
every.
know. You think I
Wow.
don't know? I know.
Wow.
Well, if this city actually elects him, then maybe New York's getting the mayor it deserves.
Ask me, that's pretty goddamn cynical, man.
That's how I've been
Or
feeling.
maybe I'm just wising up.
This is 2 on the nose for me.
So, you want
Yep.
to go on with this?
Oh, yeah.
No, let it go. It's not our job.
Crush his head. I mean, I actually like to see that.
This is giving me too
Almost
much.
a year ago now.
No.
Cops in that bar.
No.
Murdered by vigilante.
Your step is lighter. You've lost some weight.
I was
Getting
about to say.
muscle.
I'm not entirely unpleasant to see you again. It's been a long time. Life
7
has
years.
happened. You have children.
No.
No. You?
I
tried to mentor someone, but well, that's the closest I've come.
Didn't she shoot you in the face?
Ah, we're talking about my.
About your friend. I had nothing to do with his death. I kept that promise.
But now the Kingpin is back. Unsettling exceptions.
I'm gonna make New York a better future. Why did you stop being a vigilante?
Vigilante?
I will be there. This call.
The TV in the bar. Good ears from them.
Oh.
I can't believe it.
If you don't mind me asking, you seem pretty involved with them. Is there a history there?
Huh.
Oh yeah.
I'll pass across a few times over.
Oh, there's some issues going on between him and Vanessa.
I know about Adam, Vanessa.
So they love a kid.
New York will get by without you. She doesn't give a fuck, remember?
Doesn't sound like professional advice.
That's because I'm not
Did
your
I hear
therapist,
F word
Matt.
in a Disney Plus show? Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, he looks really uncomfortable.
But New Yorkers are tough. We know how to take care of ourselves. We don't need a gun-toting vigilante who wears a skull on his chest, or a man who dresses in a spider outfit, or a guy who
Well,
wears
there's a Spider-Man
different ones
reference.
to save us. No, we'll be our best once again.
To New York City.
This is way too unknown.
That is what I will deliver to the city of New York. The city that bore me.
Do not move!
NYPD.
I'm used to that.
And there's something else.
I'd still like to represent you. You're in good hands.
Back that same rep
Wait,
model.
hold up. You're blind?
He's broken. I said I'd fix it.
Just like his
the
dad.
first 100
James
days are about
Gandolfini.
settling in, getting a feel for the office. Try anything.
Well, our client says there was.
He said, he said. Matt, you take on this case, it's going to look like you're siding against the whole NYPD.
Kirsten, what did I tell you to get you to come over from the DA's office?
Jerry
So you want me
knows.
to find a guy on the platform?
Yes.
How much you want me to push?
As much as you have to. And do some digging on Hector for me. There's something about his story that doesn't track.
Wait, he's innocent or his story doesn't track?
Both.
Oh. This is too on the nose with real life.
Dracar Noir, center choice for New York's finest.
I was named for my uncle.
Ben Urich.
Yeah.
No.
I knew him. He was a good journalist.
Does she know that he killed her uncle? Oh my god.
I asked Commissioner Gallo about you on 3.
I can always move things around. Here's my email. I'm sure we can work something out.
I'm assuming this is Muse.
Truly.
For a guy like you to come to a place like this, are you even capable of feeling guilt or remorse?
Guilt.
Wow.
I didn't kill. 1974, he served for 1 month. It is my personal mission to make sure that your term is shorter than his.
Oh, that's a
I
threat.
see right through you, Fisk. You're not a mayor who loves his city. You're a whiny kid who wants everyone to love him. A monster trying to rewrite his legacy.
It's like
But guess
someone
what?
we know.
It's too late.
Changed. Hector, he's not the man I married.
Oh, he white tiger.
Do you mind? I don't think you call this. It's important.
Take it.
Okay. It's sex.
You'll make it up to me later.
With interest. I promise.
I'll collect.
Jerry, talk to me.
Goddamn.
People are going missing. No one seems to care. It's not like Daredevil's around anymore.
If I can find this out, you better believe the DA's office knows Coyotes drive down there and pick me one up for
Oh
lunch.
no, you are not doing that
It
again, huh?
Delicious. Isn't this dangerous?
Saying my judgment is clouded because of who Hector is.
Because of who you are. Because of who you were.
This case is about Hector Ayala.
Okay?
Behold him who
That's
takes
the
away the
church.
sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb.
Oh wow, I can't believe I just said that. Sorry.
Disappeared, really.
I'm curious to hear more about that. Wilson?
I want to know how he got out of prison.
I was assaulted by a vigilante.
If I go against the cops, it's going to be really bad for me.
It is already bad for you. They have located you. They're coming to kill you. You need to come with me now.
Oh fuck.
Shit, they're already here. Nikki, you have about 20 seconds.
You're the lawyer.
If you're looking for the man Hector Ayala saved on the subway platform, sadly, he's no longer here.
The hell?
Where is he? He's not here.
Oh, don't do this. Don't do this. You don't want to do this.
Oh, this piece of shit. Oh! Look at the rage. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god, Matt. And they are definitely dirty cops. So those are the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again, and I have quite a lot to say. First off, what it is a pleasure to finally be back in the world of Daredevil, but oh my god, the first 15 minutes. Now I'm gonna just go through ahead and try to kind of go through bit by bit from beginning to end. But the first 15 minutes, I think that's the first thing I need to talk about, because I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of critics were talking about in their reviews, is about the first 15 minutes and the fact that it is actually considerably one of the best MCU openers out there. And I have to say, it definitely is up there. It's definitely one of the best MCU openers out there for a very good reason, because of the fact that it is setting the tone for the rest of the series and setting up kind of this version of Matt Murdock that we're going to see through the rest of the series, and hence setting up the title of Born Again. But yeah, the first 15 minutes, I mean, whoa. Let me just say this. I had a sense that Foggy was going to die. I already had an idea that he was going to die, especially when you look at the trailers and you see some bits and pieces and you start to glue together what's going on and why Matt Murdock threw his cowl down, and why there's that scene even between him and Wilson Fisk saying that he's no longer the Daredevil. And it's like, I'm assuming someone has died, and I figured it was going to be Foggy, and I figured Foggy was going to be the triggering point for where he's at. And I figured that he did something that would have crossed the line, and he certainly did. And that's exactly what happened. I already knew that was going to happen. I will say that the opening sequence alone is like very well done for the most part, but there's one thing I'll mention in a bit. But for the most part, it's very well done. It does set up kind of the suspense of what's going to happen in the moment. I love the fact that we do kind of get a sense of like, okay, like that the recurring theme of the hallway sequence, because that's like the one iconic thing about the Daredevil series, is that we always had some version of a hallway scene, a hallway fight scene, and the opening was a sense of that. But I will say, for one thing, there's one thing I do need to take off points for, is that the opening sequence, like when you see the first few minutes, it is a little bit CGI heavy. You can see kind of bits and pieces where it's like very CGI, and I was like, it's like, okay, that's a little bit off-putting. So I will nick some points with that. It is a little too CGI heavy, and I feel like if there's one thing that made a Netflix series so great, is the fact that the fight sequences always felt realistic. There's nothing that really felt like it was artificial or anything like that. So nicking off points with that, because you can tell bits and pieces where things were starting to look a little too CGI. But even then, just to see the fight sequence between Daredevil and Bullseye, there are some very creative shots and visuals that we do see as they go into the bar. So for instance, like how they're playing with the lights, how they're having that choreography, how they're turning the camera around, and it's all done in one shot. It's like a continuous shot. And I think it's a continuous shot for like a good 10 minutes. From outside all the way up into the top floor of that bar. And once we actually do get inside the hallway, you start to see a little bit more of that classic hallway fight scene that we saw from the original Daredevil, where it's not very too CGI. It actually felt like it was actually choreographed between the two actors, and seeing how that's kind of building up, I was like, okay, this is what I remember. This is how I felt from the previous version, from the Netflix version, where it's like, oh, like this is the actual like realistic fight sequences I love about. But I will give some points for the lighting and how they kind of played with that and try to give a little bit of that ominous, like dark tone right there. I was like, oh man, and because of the whole thrill of it, right? Because of the fact that you're listening to Foggy having his final breaths, and then seeing Matt Murdock trying to listen to his friend and seeing as if he can listen to his best friend and making sure that he still somehow survives. It's just like, whoa, like how they're able to play back and forth is really spectacular. But overall, it's a really good 15-minute sequence. Just to see the performance coming from from Charlie Cox too, when he realizes what happened and the fact that his best friend has passed away. Like, I gotta give credit. I mean, Charlie Cox has never lost a beat in playing Matt Murdock. There's a reason why people, like all of us, love him as Daredevil and / Matt Murdock, because he's able to really emulate a lot of emotions and doing some way that's very complicated, complex, and resonating, and we get the sense of that here. And I have to say, like, watching, the first 15 minutes of the sequence, I will say I started to feel a little angry. I was getting really, really angry because of what Bullseye did, which, I mean, it helps that I actually did see season 3. Like, I literally watched the final episode of season 3 maybe like 2-3 hours ago, so it's very fresh in my mind. And just seeing Bullseye pop up and shoot and kill Foggy for a revenge that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because we know that Daredevil didn't really do a whole lot to, Poindexter. I mean, it was literally Fisk who killed Julia, so it's like, why is your fit with Daredevil, and why are you killing his best friend? It's just like, and then it's just like, I can feel the rage. I was like, oh man, I'm so angry too. It's like, please beat him up. So, yes, I would say the first 15 minutes did what I needed to do to really set the tone, the stage, the feelings, the mood. So bravo to that. Although again, I was not too impressed with the whole CGI sequences. I feel like they could have just gone a whole realistic route with that, but that's just me. Maybe a lot of you might have a different opinion on that. But going into the rest of the episodes, the rest of the 2 episodes, it's definitely clear it's very exposition heavy, which I'm not going to take any points off, just because I feel like it's really warranted. One being that it's been 7 years since we've seen any of these characters. It's been 7 years. Like, we're talking, because Daredevil season 3 ended back in 2018. We didn't actually see Matt Murdock or Wilson Fisk until 2021, and that's just and technically speaking, Wilson Fisk was like in 2024 in the Hawkeye timeline, and same thing with Daredevil. So even though for us it's like it happened in 2021, it's a whole confusing thing, right? So it's just like, yes, it makes sense. It's been 7 years since we've seen either of these characters. So yes, they're going to go really heavy on exposition to kind of give an idea of where these two characters are, because there's still two characters who are very much important to the Daredevil storyline, even after so many seasons later. And I do think that it does help establish a lot of what's going on, how these two characters have changed. We see with Matt that he does not want to be Daredevil anymore, especially with what happened in the whole situation with Foggy. Like, he crossed the line. He legitimately crossed the line, which we'll talk about in a minute, but he crossed the line. And then here's Wilson Fisk who's trying to change in a way, although we kind of see in the second episode he's starting to kind of go back to his old ways. But even then, we're seeing these two characters who are in a very different mindset from where they were back when we saw them in the Netflix series, which is like, okay, that's totally fine. We need to establish the exposition, because if you don't establish that, then it can sometimes hurt the evolution of like a character's arc. So I will let that be. Like, the first episodes are very dialogue heavy, and it's like, okay, that's fine. I think that that's warranted, and especially in a case like this where literally Matt Murdock is no longer the guy in that mask. He's no longer the Devils of Hell's Kitchen. It's like, okay, well, the best you can do at this point is that you have to kind of use dialogue to give an idea of what he's feeling and what's going on with him. Especially now that he's very much involved with the legal side. And then just seeing how, you know, how the events of that night has impacted him. Because again, because remember, one of the key things about Matt Murdock is that, well, the key rule about Matt Murdock and / Daredevil is that if there's like, yes, he'll be vigilante. Yes, he'll stop crime. Yes, he'll go after people who are breaking the rules. But if there's one thing that he always upholds, is that he will never kill anyone. That's part of his ethical principle. And a lot of that's because he's a Christian, he was raised Catholic, and that's a big part of his principle right there. So it's like, okay. And I mean, let's remember, season 3, he legitimately was considering killing off Wilson Fisk, and that was like a key thing about his character arc. That's one of the reasons why his friends were like trying to stop him from eliminating him, because they know that that's going to impact Matt in the worst way possible. And so here it is in the opening 15 minutes, where not only do we see Foggy die, but as a result of that, we see Matt do the unthinkable, where he attempted to kill Poindexter. And although he did not succeed, it doesn't matter. He actually attempted to kill Poindexter, which means that he has crossed the line. He didn't uphold his principles. So it's like, that makes a lot more sense. I do like that kind of execution and how that's going to be a key thing with his story arc moving forward, which makes a lot more sense when you see the title Daredevil Born Again, because it does give a sense that, okay, yes, right now he's in a state where he's not happy with his status as a Daredevil. He's given that up because of the fact that he's crossed over the line, the fact that he does feel a little bit of that guilt and that shame, and even that pain, right? That pain that he's feeling as a result of what happened to his best friend. And that's why he gave up that persona as Daredevil. But it does seem as though that, you know, because of the fact that him and Wilson Fisk have now crossed each other and they've set some boundaries, it does seem as though that at some point we'll see Wilson Fisk is gonna somehow cross over the line, and that's probably where Matt Murdock's gonna have to come into play, and we're probably gonna start seeing him kind of start slowly coming back and accepting his persona as Daredevil. And I think that makes a lot more sense, the whole Born Again. And I have to say, there's one really clever scene that we see here, which is him going to the church. I believe it's the same church that he went to when he was a kid. And so it's the same one from the Netflix series. But instead of going inside, he's just outside. He's refusing to go inside, going inside because he's probably feeling he's very guilty. But at the same time, he's listening to whoever is talking about, you know, the principles and ethics and all that sort of stuff. And I love how that, because we're still bringing the religious aspect, that the Born Again is also kind of like a personification where he's like eventually going to rebirth himself as a Daredevil. And it does seem as though that's going to happen at some point. He's going to be back in the suit. So I know right now a lot of people who are watching the series and seeing the first 2 episodes and seeing the lack of action, seeing the lack of Daredevil action, it's just like, okay, but it does seem as though that this is building up to a moment where he will where he will once again adopt that persona. It's just that we have to see kind of how that's going to play out, especially with a lot of the storylines that are being integrated here, whether it be the White Tiger thing, Wilson Fisk, heck, we still have Poindexter around, so there's a lot of ways that this can be executed. So because of that, I'm not too bothered with the slow pacing, as well as the fact that it's very exposition heavy, because it kind of needs to set up that the standards of where the character arc is right now. So I would say maybe probably by episodes 5 or 6 is where I'll start to kind of really establish my overall thoughts about it. Be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now in the moment. And I know I've had cases in the past where it's like a lot of times if you're not already building up to things by episodes 5 or 6, you're starting to get in a little bit of trouble. But I'm gonna keep my faith with this one, just because of one thing being that of the people involved in the series and the fact that this show itself was basically rebuilt from scratch. If you guys don't remember, back in 2023, the series, originally speaking, Karen and Foggy were not going to be in the series. It was going to be some other characters that were involved. I think they even had a different actor for Vanessa, and I think they even had a different actor for Elektra. So they had that. It was going to be like a whole different tone, a whole different vibe from the Netflix version. It was going to be like a little bit more Disney-fied, where it's going to be like a little bit more friendly. Not like this, where we see it's like very gory, violent, which we'll also talk about in a minute. But it was going to be very Disney-fied, but because of the strikes, they had to pause filming, and then I think what ended up happening is that they looked at the footage and they're like, holy crap, this is not good, we need to restart this and go a different direction. And after that, I think they replaced the writers with the writers from Loki Season 2, Benson and Moorhead. Now, I'm actually familiar with their work. I've seen their work before. If you have not, I would say watch Endless. Endless is absolutely spectacular film. I saw that a long time ago, but it's really well done. And the fact that they were able to do Loki Season 2 and just to see how that turned out, I was just like, I have my faith in these two guys, even though it was kind of a really unsettling period where they had to kind of restart everything. Like, usually when you hear like a series or movies having to restart their whole like filming, you're like, oh, that's a bad thing. But I think having heard those two writers being involved, and I believe they're also directing a couple episodes, I was like, okay, I'm actually okay with this. I'm actually happy with this because I trust these two guys. And so I believe they are involved with a lot of the writing here. And if so, I trust them. I really do trust them that they are able to evolve and grow Matt and even Wilson Fisk's story. And I think that maybe if this is how they approach it, that maybe it's going to lead up to some kind of satisfying conclusion. So, and plus, we're going to get season 2. We're going to have a season 2. We know we're going to have a season 2. So that's going to happen for sure as well. And if they're already renewing a season 2, that means that Disney/Marvel Studios is very confident with season 1. So if that's the case, I'm going to be how do you say it? I'm going to be, cautiously optimistic. I think that's the best way to say cautious optimistic. I think this is a very good beginning for sure. I will say, if there's one thing that this series has really elevated, is the music and score. Oh my god. Let's recall the fact, I don't know, I'm pretty sure in my reaction, I literally, when the moment I heard the original Netflix theme song, I was like, oh my god, I was like, I can't believe we're actually listening to this, because I didn't know whether or not they're going to bring back the theme song or they're just gonna redo the whole thing or remix it. But it was so nice hearing that. I was just like, oh man, it just felt like those old times. But then at the same time, the actual theme song itself, you can see that they actually did revamp it, but more so the fact that it reflects on what's going on with Matt in the moment. Particularly the fact that he's in a very grim, dark environment, given the fact of what happened with Foggy, and the fact that he's just completely has deviated from his Daredevil persona. So it's just like, okay, wow, I can see why they went with a much more darker undertone with the theme song. But even then, just the score itself, like, I swear, I was like actually listening to the score very closely, and I was just like, oh my god, like a lot of the score really hits. So if we're getting that, I'm just like, okay, I'm in favor of that. And I will accept it. It's like, okay. So I like the score. I like how it's really elevated in this series. I hope that carries on as we get more and more into the series. And plus, I hope we're going to see more of the Daredevil theme. And one other thing I've got to mention, because I feel like we have to talk about that last sequence right there in episode 2, because I do want to talk a little bit about episode 2. Yeah, that last sequence right there, just seeing Matt. I mean, I have to say, just seeing episode 2, you can see a little bit more of Matt Murdock / Daredevil slowly emerging, especially the old Matt Murdock, who at a point was, you know, it wasn't always just about taking files, but also a moment about him, a thing about him where it's just like he just wanted to help people who are very vulnerable regardless of the situation. And I like that. I like how he takes that case with White Tiger. And so, but going into that final, going to the final moments where, you know, he finds the witness, I have to say, like, when you start to see him kind of slowly kind of release his Daredevil persona, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get it. And then we see him, and it's like seeing how angry it is and how angry and frustrated and furious he is, and then just how he beat the crap out of those corrupted cops, and the way that he just like split how he split the elbow. I'm pretty sure that was actually in the trailer, but the way that he split, like, I still reacted to it too. It's like I already saw this material, I'm still reacting to it, like the way that's like the first time I'm seeing that. It's just like, oh my god, like holy crap. You can tell that this is a much more violent, much more gorier, much more bloody version. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure this is even more mature, because I don't recall any characters ever using the F word in the original Netflix version. I don't recall that ever happening. And then here it's like I'm already hearing like 1 or 2 F words. I'm like, great. I thought this was a Disney show. I thought this was a Disney Plus show. So you can see how they definitely are, you know, going up a notch on the maturity and the violence and the goriness. And we see that in like the last few minutes and in some bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, you can see how we are getting a lot more of the Netflix version, which I'm glad is the case. I'm very curious what the original version, or like at least the filmed versions, were before the whole restructuring and restarting, because like if this is what we got now, like I'm curious what the original version looked like, that they had to literally scrap it and start everything from scratch. Because if that was that bad, I'm like, okay, I'm just glad at least we got the tone patterned down, because I feel like that's just a key thing about Daredevil that makes the series so great, is the fact that it's dark, it's sophisticated, it's grounded, it's very violent, it's very grim, it's dark, and it's like that's what made Daredevil such a great show, is that he's a very dark character compared to everyone else in the world. And I love the fact that we're still referencing a lot of characters in the MCU. Like we just heard the Spider-Man reference with the web suit guy. I was like, oh, that's definitely Peter Parker. Of course, in New York. It's like, oh, all the New York characters, because there's so many New York characters from Marvel. But yeah, I'm happy with the fact that they have at least maintained the tone, even kind of elevating that a little bit with the violence. The music is really great. The first 15 minutes was pretty well done, aside from the fact that I feel like the CGI was a little cartoonish. But overall, yeah, I'm not gonna be too critical about the fact that the first 2 episodes are very exposition heavy. I think it's just warranted in a case like this, given the fact that it's been 7 years. And I think that's totally fine. I'm just hoping that moving forward, we'll start to see a little bit of that growth of the storytelling, and we see that evolution. I think that's a really key thing. Like if you can at least kind of go by the steps and start to see kind of how the characters change. And I think we're already kind of seeing a lot of that already happening by episode 2. Just like, okay, if you can at least slowly evolve that with the characters with that, and like build on the character arcs, that's totally fine by me. Take all the time you need. Hopefully by like episodes 5 and 6, I feel like I would hope that I have a really good feel about the show, that okay, it's like at least I'm feeling satisfied, and then hopefully that will build up to the finale. I know with Marvel shows, they typically have pretty good starts, not so great endings, and a very slow and boring middle. That's always been the case with what I felt with most Marvel and Star Wars series, so I hope that's not the case here. But I still have a lot of faith in this show, although I'll be cautiously optimistic. So guys, I still have to be a little bit more I still have to be very cautious about these kinds of things. But I think that just sums about everything I have to say about Daredevil. I think it's a very good start to the series. I'm excited to see this journey moving forward, and I hope that we get to see a lot of this build-up. I don't think we did not see Punisher, so I'm assuming he's gonna be coming out later. I wonder if we're gonna see Karen come back again, because they do establish here that she now resides in San Francisco, so it's like, okay. But she's also gonna be coming back in season 2, so it's like, okay, what does this mean? But at the same time, I wonder how things will start to glue together, especially because we have White Tiger, we have Fisk, we have Daredevil. At some point, we're gonna have Muse coming in, so it's like, okay, where does Muse kind of fit into this? But so far, it's a very decent start, and hopefully it'll start to build that momentum as we get each and every week. I love the fact that we're having the weekly episodes because that means I don't have to rush through this whole series. Thank God for that. Because I do not like binge. I don't like doing binge formats because I feel like that takes away the experience, in my opinion. But I mean, I know a lot of people argue me with that, but I don't care. I prefer weekly. But I like that we're getting that with this show at least. So hopefully things will turn out great and it will end up fine. But let me know your thoughts now, having seen the first episodes of Daredevil Born Again. What are your thoughts about watching the first 15 minutes of the sequence? Would you consider that to be one of the best MCU openers, as a lot of people are implying, especially some of the critics? What are your thoughts about Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk's storyline so far? What do you think that's going to imply about their character arcs and how that's going to move forward as we get into each and every episode? I'm not seeing Punisher, but we do see that tattoo thing, so is that implying something? Because that kind of looks like a Punisher tattoo. But is that implying anything? Do you have any theories and predictions as to what's going to happen moving forward? Just so you know, we're definitely not going to see Spider-Man, so do not say anything about Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not going to show up in the series. That's been already confirmed. But what are your thoughts about the series overall? Do you like the execution? Do you think it was too exposition heavy? Are you going to continue to stick around with this series? What are your impressions so far? And any other thoughts and concerns about Daredevil Born Again now that we now see this back? Let me know your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe.